Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we have convened this press briefing to offer guidance to the membership of the Kenya Union Party coup and to all Kenyans on the emerging threats to our constitutional democracy. We, the Kenya Union Party, joined the Azimio One Kenya Alliance in the run-up to the last general election in exercise of our political rights as a political party. We did this because we genuinely believed that the Azimio One Kenya Alliance represented a new dawn for our country in the form of principled, policy-driven, and visionary leadership. Aside from its management of the election campaigns and its penchant for unilateral decision-making, recent actions by the Azimio leadership have starkly shown us that the promises that led us to join the coalition were hollow. Indeed, today, the Azimio coalition represents the greatest threat to democracy, the rule of law, and national cohesion in our nation's recent history. Arising thereof, today we lay bare the instruments that were meant to hold the coalitions together and to guide our path forward, so that Kenyans may see the disingenuous and deceitful nature of the current arrangement. In that regard, the Kenya Union Party wishes to notify our members and the general public as follows. 1. The Kenya Union Party expresses its disapproval of affiliate parties being annexed as a family holdings and blatantly being disregarded within the Azimio fraternity. 2. That the just concluded IALA nominations affirms Azimio is a dynastic enterprise that is in reality a personal vessel for a chosen few. We had presented the deputy party leader, second deputy party leader of Kenya Union Party, Honorable Asman Kamama, as a candidate for IALA, and his name had even reached Parliament, but he was surprised that it was removed. 3. That the Kenya Union Party unequivocally dissociates itself from the planned demonstrations by the ODM party under the guise of collective Azimio decision, for the reason that the same were not discussed and approved by Azimio's constituent parties, where CUP is a member. 4. That for the avoidance of doubt, the true Azimio coalition and not the renegade ODM brigade fully respects due process and the rule of law, and respects the decision of the Supreme Court for the reason that they embody the sovereign authority of the people of Kenya. 5. That Kenyans are yearning for a transformation of their lives, driven by leaders addressing the day-to-day issues of ordinary citizens, such as the plight of millions devastated by drought and hunger today, the escalating cost of living, and the limited access to opportunities and jobs for the youth. 6. That we have no doubt in our mind that this renegade brigade only offers violence and chaos rather than sensible and practical solutions for the people and the needs of Kenyans. 7. That the Kenya Union Party lauds His Excellency the President Honorable William Ruto for steering the country along the path of transformation. 8. That in less than 100 days in office, His Excellency the President has been able to inspire a renewal of our national ethos. And his government record had already secured amazing achievement, and that has got the admiration of the world. 9. That the most recent example of this is the establishment of the Hustler Fund, shows that the administration has a comprehensive plan to eliminate poverty by enhancing a process to access credit for our micro business and individuals alike. 10. That the administration is one that not only says but also deliver, as shown by the fact that the elusive fertilizer subsidy promised in previous administration has finally been received by our farmers. You can confirm some of us are farmers from the Greater Rift Valley. The fertilizer has arrived. 11. That as a responsible and responsive government, the administration has implemented a suspension of the importation of maize until all the locally produced maize is utilized. A sign that we now have a government that listens and cares for the plight of farmers. And I say this with confidence because I'm one of the farmers from Rift Valley. We were struggling with our yield of maize, which now has favorable markets. Today, we can confidently sell our produce because the government has intervened. We are proud of that. 12. That the new security policies, interventions such as the recruitment of national police reservists, boldly indicate his government's commitment to peace and security across all Kenya, with many more nonsense successes in many other areas of our public lives. Ladies and gentlemen, as a party, Kenya Union Party, we are committed to calling it as it is, which means recognizing when the administration has secured successes, as well as calling it out when it appears that they have gone wrong. This is a far cry from the position taken by the ODMs in denunciations that we have been reading in the papers, where they denounced all the administration's policies and programs so far given, even those such as the ones that we have highlighted above, that are really undoubtedly very transformative. Kenya is our motherland, our home, and our sacred inheritance passed down to us by the previous generations to hold in trust for future generations. No single person, no party, or group of families is greater than the nation. No Kenyan should ever dream that their narrow ambitions are more important than the peace, security, cohesion, and the development of the people of Kenya. Whether in government or outside government, all politicians must respect the basic tenets of our constitutional democracy, particularly respect for the rule of law and respect for judicial decisions. The removal of IBC commissioners is a legal process provided for by our supreme law as a fair and just means by which the senior management of the election body can be held accountable to the people of Kenya. This is not partisan question. It is to ask, are we as a nation of laws, are we a nation of laws or a nation of lawlessness? Are we a country where no one is above, having to answer for their conduct in the discharge of the public trust, or are we a nation for the rule of the jungle? Our sister party in Azimio, the ODM party, must hold the planned demonstrations that pose a great and grave threat to the peace, democracy, and the development that we have achieved so far. Kenya needs a dynamic opposition that is very loyal to the Constitution of Kenya and the overriding interests of our people, rather than one which wishes to selfishly heighten political tensions and threaten violence and destruction in all the pursuits of a handshake that may never come. May God bless you all. May God bless our beloved nation, Kenya. Signed by myself, Professor John Lony'Ang'Apuo, the party leader, Kenya Union Party.
Members of the Fourth Estate, we want myself and Honorable Rotino, because we will comment later, to be associated with all the sentiments expressed by our party leader. We are totally in support of what he has said. That is our party position, and that's our stand as a party, as Kenya Union Party. Secondly, I want to really, in support of his sentiments, I want to, as a former chair of the Committee of National Security and Administration, I want to touch on the issue of National Police Reservists. We used to call them Home Guard or KPR, because that is a challenge and an issue that is really disturbing the people living on the north of the equator, the North Rift. Professor, my party leader, in a place called Chesagon, signed some peace agreement with other governors, I think 2 years ago. And so I want to support him because he's a man who supports peace from his heart. He has even he signed those documents at a place called Chesagon. Our president, then the deputy president, was part and parcel of that process. Actually, he's the one who presided over the signing of that agreement. Maybe can I pause for a minute so that he's I'll continue. Yeah. Now, I want to speak with a lot of authority on the matter of security. I was chair for 5 years, and I midwifed a lot of legal reforms and policies in government on the matter of security. And we want, in addition to what my party leader said, that we support His Excellency the President's initiative. In less than 100 days, is done marvelous. Traveling to almost all continents is a plus and expresses the energy and the vision that this president has for Kenya. Because when you go out to look for help, support from other countries, it means you're serious. The president has done a lot. Within the last 100 days, he's done marvelous. So we support him. I was his former deputy in the Ministry of Higher Education. 2014 up to, I think, 2016. And until up to the time when he was sacked by Mheshimiwa Raila. I was his deputy. And I want to confirm to you, the people of the press and Kenyans, that Honorable Ruto is a man who believes in change. I was his deputy, me and Mheshimiwa Dr. Kilemi Mweria. He sleeps reforms, he wakes up reforms. He is a working machine, that gentleman. I want to repeat it. He sleeps reforms, he wakes up reforms, and he's a working machine. He would be in the office by 5:36. By 8, there's no paper on the in tray and out tray. And so I want to say this, that on the issue of security, the issue of establishing the issue of KPR, recruitment of National Police Service, all the pastoralists in this country support that. We entrenched it in law. I want to assure you that in the National Police Service Act amendment, I did that with Honorable Lony'Ang'Apuo and the rest. We entrenched in law that NPR should be established and be given stipends. What I want, what I'm requesting the government to do, and even His Excellency, is to establish a serious directorate in charge of NPR. Maybe the chair should come from neutral communities who are not participating, who are not in this business, or who are not in this business of cat rustling. Luo, Kamba, Luya, and even the Luyas. Then you should have directors from these communities. A serious directorate, a mandate for 5 years. After 5 years, they should all go. Because it should not be an employment to really make people dependent on this. Then have that directorate, have the directors from those who are in communities. And I can assure you, the Honorable, the President of Uganda had these challenges when he took over. The challenges of the Karamoja and the challenges of Kony. And he came up with a ministry in charge of Karamoja affairs. Me, I'm talking about directorate, I'm not talking about ministry. Because those are issues, those are constitutional issues. In the north, he neutralized the Lord Resistance Army by coming up with what they call the initiative of the Northern Reconstruction. He managed to neutralize Kony, managed to neutralize the Karamoja issues. So we want him to come up with that so that because he's a pastoralist like us, he understands his problem better than other presidents. Okay, Moi he understood, but of course, Mzee used draconian, like the issue of the operation in Kacheliba, Operation Yundo, we are not in support. But we want the pastoralists to be listened to. You listen to us, the way the president has done, come up with the issue of the policy of NPR, but make it structural. I mean, it should be a serious thing. at the moment, most NPR report, most NPRs or home guards are loyal to their communities. They must be a sync. They must work in sync so that they report to one directorate, so that Pokots, Turkanas, Saburus, Barakwets, the NPRs there should not actually be loyal to their communities. They should be loyal to government and do what the government wants, not what their communities are interested in. So we want that thing fixed properly, because Honorable Ruto understands that. Then lastly, we want to say, as a support of our party leader, that the issue we had first this issue of Mandamano. We are tired of this Mandamano business. The youth are now interested in doing business. Let them get the Hustler Fund and other funds that are available. In fact, on the day of Mandamano, let them apply for many loans on that day. Because this Mandamano thing this Mandamano thing will not solve their problems. And so that I can hand over to my brother here. The Azimio leader should look for a more serious undertaking other than Mandamano business. So we used to want to dissociate ourselves with that Mandamano thing, and want to confirm, as a party leader said, that as Kenya Union Party, we support the president totally, so that he can deliver to Kenyans, because he has the academic, whatever wherewithal that's available to deliver that. Thank you very much.
Members of the press, for giving us this opportunity to be able to say something. I want to echo what my colleagues have said. I want to be very brief. And we want to say that as a party called Kenya Union Party, we really support what the president is doing in all aspects. Me especially, as a business person, I really support the Hustler Fund. The thought of Hustler Fund to be able to help our unemployed youth, because we know we have a lot of unemployment in this country. And one of the things that's going to help us is the Hustler Fund. So what has been formed is extremely something that we as a party support the sentiments and the work that the president is doing. Secondly, I want to support the KPR issue, as my colleagues have said, because we have suffered a lot as far as cat rustling is concerned. And the previous government really got away with the KPR because there was no structure. I believe that the president now knows what was happening before. And I believe that he is going to streamline this issue of KPR, because that will be the ultimate solution to be able to empower the people within those communities. Because we know the administrative police, the police officers might not be able to do exactly what the KPR will do. So I believe the president is going to streamline and give a policy guideline on KPR. So as members of COOP, we support the president wholeheartedly, and we want to give him all the support that he needs to be able to run the government. For what he has done within 100 days, less than 100 days, he has done something very remarkably, and I believe that he has a lot, because he has a vision. Where leadership has no vision, people will perish. But I believe the president has a vision for this country, and he's taking this country somewhere. So with those few ones, I want to echo what my party chairman has said, and I believe that we are going to go somewhere. Thank you very much.